Here. All right, peace, everyone. Welcome to Herbalist Lounge, March 2025. Herbal Legacy. Welcome. Okay. So your facilitators for this evening are myself, Martina, and we also have
Asia. Hello, everybody.
Love that chicken picture. And this is Lanita. Hi.
We're so glad to have you join us this evening for this build. So if you're new to the Herbalist Lounge, we just ask that you mute yourself, but this is not a classroom by any means. This is not a lecture. Feel free to unmute yourself at any time to chime in to the discussion, okay? Also feel free to say what's up and peace like people are doing over in the chat right now, okay? At any time. All right. All right, guys, y'all ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So, considering the topic tonight, I mean, it's always important to honor our ancestors. And tonight, I know it's really, really about honoring our ancestors, our plancestors, our legacies. And I'm really excited about getting into this and having this build. But we absolutely want to honor them and give thanks for paving the way. Asia, Lanita, do you want to add anything else to that?
You said it for sure.
Mm-hmm. All right. So
You get talking about the legacy, and we think of our ancestors as knowing these things, and some of it we didn't get it directly firsthand, but we're going back and getting it now. We're all in Sankofa mode because we realize they knew something that we didn't know and that we didn't value. Now we're beginning to value it. So we're coming full circle, and we're going to get into it tonight.
I love that. I love that. Yes, yes, we getting into it. All right. So before we get into it, y'all, what we sipping on tonight? What we sipping on? I know we had a really good build last month. People were sipping on different things. So what we sipping on today?
This is Larry. It's gonna be a hibiscus and lemongrass.
Oh, peace, Larry. It's good to hear from you. We
Hey,
still,
y'all.
we still on that hibiscus. I love it.
Yes, yes. I took it easy on the clothes though.
Okay. Thanks for the update.
Well, Larry, I'm right with you there. I'm drinking white hibiscus with grated apple in it, so it is smooth and feeling good.
Nice.
Yeah, someone else did a suggestion for an apple. I'm gonna try that.
Yeah, it really adds something. I can't describe it, but it adds a little kick to it that you really would enjoy, probably.
Okay, I'll put that on my list to do.
Cool. Okay, we got some Apple recommendations in the house.
Hey, I'm not.
All right. Well, I'll tell y'all what I'm about to sip on. Let's see. It's going to be motherwort, lemon balm, red raspberry leaf, and spearmint. Nice combination.
That sounds good.
I mean, it's a bitter balance, Martina. I know you would love that.
I would love it. That's why I'm sipping on straight dandelion root, unroasted. Okay.
Ooh, unroasted, yo.
Look, we taking it unroasted, and yes, that roasted dandelion root is so good, but it just takes away from that bitterness. You know what I'm saying? So I actually have a
You're
quart
real
mason
G.
jar. I listen with this quart size mason jar here, and it's all filled up, and I probably will drink about a third of it tonight. It's just. And in the morning, my little one, before she went to bed, she's like, "Mommy, can you make me some tea?" And I'm like, not now, because we'll be waking up, in the middle of the night going to the restroom. But I'm like, I got you. She'll be having some dandelion root tea in the morning. Hope she enjoys. Ooh, Larry asked a fun question, Lanita. What's the difference between the red and the white hibiscus?
Okay. Well, the red hibiscus is the one that's most used. You'll see that more often, but in Senegal, people cook with the white hibiscus because it has more of a citrus flavor. So when you're cooking with that, it adds that kind of tart flavor that you want into it without being lemon. It's a nice citrus flavor. And as I'm drinking it, I didn't make this. My sister-in-law made it, and it's like uber sweet. So I had to put it half with water. But the red hibiscus is sweeter than the white hibiscus, and but I like the white hibiscus because it's a gentle, smooth taste, but it's like I said, a little more citrus, and it's a little smoother to me than the red hibiscus. The red hibiscus to me is just I call that Kool-Aid. So the white hibiscus is a little gentler to you. It tastes more tea-like.
Just laughing at his little laughing emojis in the chat. I guess that got through to him. And then just to add to that, if you're like me, Larry, you've got some amazing seeds from Lanita, some white hibiscus seeds, and then maybe years prior to that, you got some red hibiscus seeds from Lanita, because Lanita is the hibiscus queen. And then you grow both of them, and then the following year, when you plant those new seeds, you get pink hibiscus. So it was like a blend of both. So I got pink hibiscus now because it's a mixture of they cross pollinated, which after hearing what you said, Lanita, that makes sense. It's a combination of both. So I like that. Yeah. Thanks for that little you know, added Asia. I know you felt me on that one. All right, y'all. So honoring. Oh, wait, I did tell you. Everyone spoke about what they're sipping on tonight. We sure did, didn't we? All right. So honoring our herbal legacy. What does that mean to everybody? What does that mean to us?
Yeah, I'm assuming it's giving honor and learning more about what was lost.
Mm-hmm. I like that. And I also like what I like what you said, Larry, learning what was lost and combining that with what Lanita said a few moments ago. Some of these things that we, partake in or are learning weren't directly taught to us by our direct ancestors or whatnot, but we're rediscovering it and relearning and tapping back in. And I don't know, like sometimes when you learn something new or about a tradition or you start working with hibiscus. I remember working with hibiscus for the first time, but it just felt like something I had done for so long. Like I can just feel like my ancestors worked with this plant. So I like what both of you all said, rediscovering what was part of your lineage somewhere down the line, things that were lost. I resonate with that.
Martina, back in the day, we used to talk about that we're not learning it, we're remembering it.
That part.
Yeah, yeah, because we have such a long legacy of greatness and the things that our ancestors did. We're just remembering what they have done.
Absolutely. I love it.
And I think some of it too is not only are we learning what our ancestors done, we're learning what others have done, even because America is such a melting pot. We have the fortune to, get information from all over the world. And we are learning how to use the herbs that may grow near us that may not have been something that our ancestors used, but now, we have a whole new different breed of stuff growing around us, but we're learning to use that even in ways that they did. So just, finding some of their techniques and how they made their herbs into medicine or food, whatever they needed it for. We're learning to do those techniques with new and different plants. And like Martina said, I'm bringing seeds from Senegal, and we're getting seeds from all over the world, everywhere, and testing them. I'm bringing stuff from the US here to Senegal and seeing if we can't grow it here. So introducing each other to our ancestors' legacies from all over.
Absolutely. And here I go going through all the slides because I'm excited right now. Um, you got me so excited, Lenita. My brain's just bubbling right now because that is so true. Things that we use now may not be things that our ancestors used. But if we go back into time during some of our past ancestors, they most likely said the same thing. You feel me? Because that's a big topic. Our ancestral foods, ancestral lands. And we know one thing for sure is that things, plants and people and living beings have been having some type of movement for a long time. So it just made me think about what conversations my ancestors had with the reintroduction of being in new spaces for different reasons and having to become familiar with new plants and new ecosystems and using that knowledge that they have from past experience to be able to utilize these new things, because I definitely experienced that. I think we all experience that, especially when we travel ourselves, like, us three Spice Sisters, when we travel just within this piece of land, So I love that point that you just brought up. That resonates as well. And welcome, Clarissa. Welcome to the Herbalist Lounge. Just wanted to say peace.
We're learning different herbal things too. For me, I was living in Texas and I thought, oh, yeah, I'm foraging. I got blackberries growing. And then one year my lawnmower broke. And when the lawnmower broke, things grew that we never knew we had. And two of my favorite herbs to work with came out of that broken lawnmower incident, and that was Heal All and the Black-Eyed Susan. Because before, we're cutting the grass as soon as we get the first little dandelion up, we cutting grass. And so we never saw all these wild flowers, all these beneficial herbs. And when the lawnmower is broken, you couldn't cut. We got a jungle out here, but it was a very useful jungle. So I think we have to also take time and be comfortable with not having a manicured lawn sometimes, so that we can see what herbs are growing around us.
Mm-hmm. I'm grateful for that lawnmower incident, Lanita, because my Heal All seeds and all that goodness that I got from that land. I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah. The upside to a broken lawnmower.
Right?
So what you're saying, Lenita, is that when you have land, don't mow the lawn for at least a year or two to see what else is growing.
Exactly. And then see what comes to eat what grows too. Because you get different critters out there when you have different herbs growing. So and sometimes that can be beneficial too.
I remember what were those that was rooting around in the land, and they left those.
Oh, wild pigs. Yeah, the wild hogs.
The first thing that came to mind was the wild hogs, because we have those everywhere. And the little babies are so cute with their little horns, but when mama comes around, I'm out. You wake up the next morning, they have a hoedown in the yard. Like, they will tear up your stuff. Like, I have those giant elephant ear plants. Like, the elephant ear leaves are as big as the side of the house. People are like, wow, those are huge. Not when the hogs come by. The next morning, it's like they had a hoedown in the root system of it, and it's so yeah. If you don't cut it down, something will, but you will learn a lot. I feel like an ecologist after that,
And you learn your different kind of snakes, because when you get the rodents and the little groundhog things coming up, the snakes come by to get them, and the hawks. When you start cutting the grass and you show those little rodents, the snakes be tipping their wings at you. Thank you, thank you. And the hawks will come by and swoop them up. So it's a whole thing, learning your ecosystem and seeing what's going on around you when you just let it be.
Absolutely. Oh, since we're talking about ecosystems and observation, for me, that's always been huge. Just like you said, Lanita, just observing and observing patiently. Like I always tell the story about the Bronx in the winter time and then learning about what red clover looks like or and red and white clovers. I'm like, oh, what are these little leaves that pop up after the brick cold? And all of a sudden, they start flowering. And I'm like, wow, okay. Now the next season, I'm able to identify it without the flowers. But down here in Florida, it's the same thing. Just patience and observation. You learn so much. And like you said, not just about plants, you're going to learn about all the critters. And if you're like Q over with Clarissa, you're going to eat them animals too. They come too close. But thank you for that suggestion, Q, in the chat. Oh my goodness. I'm just laughing. Kill the animals that come and eat them and eat the animals, Q says.
Q eating the dinner that's eating the dinner.
As my grandpa would say, we all on the hook, because I remember there was a situation where there was like a frog on the back porch or a big toad, and my mom was like, oh, the cat started playing with the toad. Leave the toad alone. We got to save the toad. We throw the toad away from the back porch to the front porch so the cat doesn't play with it until it dies. As soon as that frog or the toad landed outside, a big old hawk swooped it up, and then we saw him looking at us with his one little, leg in the distance. But hey, we all on the hook. Circle of life.
I'm laughing over here. Y'all tried to save that toad.
I'm over here like crickets. I'm sorry, guys.
No, Martina, my dogs would try to eat the turtles, get the turtles out of the shell. When it rains a lot, the turtles get farther and farther away from the pond. And then when it starts getting hot, that water dry up and they just kind of landlocked. And then the dogs trying to eat the turtle out the shell. Or the funniest thing is them trying to eat an armadillo. So you get to watch all of these little comedies going on. And most of the times, even the small animals are protected. And that's another thing that we learn, how to use that. Our ancestors also used, those animal turtle soup was supposed to be so good and healthy for you. So frog legs, that was living in New Orleans. So,
Spring chicken.
all of these things, we have enough. That's it. We have enough stuff to take care of ourselves. If you just learn the legacy that was left to us.
We also learned about vernaculars, because what did you just say? Armadillo? The what, Lenny? The armadillo. I love it. Yeah, we got those armadillos out here. Possums.
Mhm.
And you can learn from the animals too, because we've always had a relationship with nature. We learn from each other. And you guys know how I feel about the longleaf pine, and that all started with just observing Florida, going out and about. My love of plants. Oh, look at this plant, let me take a picture. Oh, this is a pine tree, look how long those needles are. This is a 10-inch needle on the pine tree. What species pine is this? Oh, longleaf pine. Next thing you know, I'm researching it, learning about its legacy. And of course, it ties to the social histories. And I stumbled upon endangered, well, it's an endangered woodpecker that's indigenous or native to Florida that lives in the longleaf pine. And the way it makes its nest, it puts a hole in the longleaf pine and the resin seals it up and it protects the babies. I was like, that's so clever, because here we are using the resin in so many ways for medicine. We use it, to burn as resin, to clear energetically, and, so many ways. And here, these birds are using them in similar ways as well. So it'll just take you down a rabbit hole.
Well, I can see why that woodpecker is endangered because they are some noisy birds when they start tapping in them trees early in the morning.
I
And
know
they
you were going to
always
say
want to
something bad.
start early.
I knew you were going to say something bad. You know why? Because every time I mention woodpeckers, you have something bad to say. Like, I'm like, oh, guys, there's a woodpecker outside. Asia and Lanita. Lanita's like, it means you have termites. And I'm over here like, oh my God, we got termites. Come get the man to come in. I mean, Lanita, you don't leave the woodpeckers alone, okay? I am Team Woodpecker over here.
Martina, you remember that woodpecker when we were at the farm up north? And so it was on a metal pole and it kept packing the metal pole. Do you remember that?
Yes, 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 I
That
do.
woodpecker must have been tasting some sativa first, huh?
No, it kept going. Like it was a metal pecker. It wasn't even a woodpecker at that
because
point.
because its habitat is endangered, y'all. Y'all think this is funny, but the habitat is endangered. Now it has to go peck metal. You see, it's getting real out here. Are there termites in the metal? Let me
No,
find.
we was on
But I forgot all about that, Asia. That was crazy. Yes, I do remember that. That was crazy. Whew. All right. All right, Joe. Ooh, that was a hard laugh. All right, so we're having some good conversations. Let's keep it moving. What are some things that resonate with our herbal legacies? What do we think about? I always love hearing these stories over and over again, and I know we always discover new ones and stuff, but anyone want to share some of their favorite herbs to work with that they consider like this is part of my herbal legacy, and even if it wasn't, I'm gonna make it part of my herbal legacy, starting with me.
Clarissa, you got some baby stuff? Some mommy baby stuff?
Let's see. Herbs for mom and baby. Well, first I think about peppermint because I use that a lot because moms get very nauseous and we like them to get nauseous, especially when they're in transition. We know he's about to come, but the peppermint literally stops the nausea in its tracks. It's amazing. It like the nurse is running to go get the medication, and before she's even out of the door, the mom is like, I feel good. I'll take it and just put it in a diffuser, and it immediately relieves them. So that's one of my go-tos. Don't recommend peppermint in postpartum because it does dry up the breast milk, but definitely when you are in labor. Yeah, so I thought I would share that.
Nice.
Yeah, and you know, mint was used too because it's one of those freebies that when it starts growing, it just takes over a place. So you know, people found that out early about using mint for all kinds of upset stomach, nausea, um, poultices, everything. Mint was really good, but it's one of those abundant plants too.
Sure. I like to use the spearmint in certain teas, like the one that I'm about to make, is because motherwort can be bitter, but like spearmint for me, outside of apples, is another secret that I use to kind of round the tea off and to kind of mask the flavors of the other herbs so that it's enjoyable, quote unquote, enjoyable for people who don't normally drink hardcore herbs. So they're familiar with like peppermint and spearmint, so that tastes, it helps them to get through it.
Yeah, the whole mint family is definitely just beautiful plants. I'm thinking about like catnip and lemon balm, two of my favorites, and of course mint. With those plants alone, you can do a lot with those plants. And like you said, they're easy to grow, Lanita. And that's something I love.
Mhm.
To me, it represents abundance. You know,
Mhm.
when you have a plant that's easy to grow and I can't think of a place where I had a hard time growing mint. I've grew mint in all kinds of environments. So mint is definitely a go-to herb. Um, and I know something that my
It's
ancestors
one of them that
utilized.
Yeah, like you were saying, Martina, that whole family is good because you said some others, but I was thinking rosemary and basil, and um, you said you can grow them anywhere except here because the sheep ate my basil, the goats ate ate my kale, they ate the aloe vera, so. Yeah, but normally they grow easily. And what I did was I took the plants from the house and I put them out in the field, in the farm, and my basil and my kale are growing back. So they do grow anywhere very easily. So if you think you can't grow something, just try something in the mint family because they grow really good, and you don't have to be, a real horticulturalist to grow those.
Mhm.
she's were thinking about abundance too, Lanita. That's what they were doing. They were like, yeah, it's gonna grow back.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
It
you
was
can get
abundant.
one way to work around that, Lanita, to get more mint with the goats is curry goat. You guys make some curry goat, and that might come, you know.
And they already got the mint in it.
Oh, see now you let me stop. Let me stop. We taking herb nerd to a whole different level, but I'll take it down all kinds of levels. But uh, right.
Oh, Martina, Lanita, Asia, got me and Q got some news um, about our own homestead, and we purchased 9 acres.
All right.
Broop, 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 broop. That's my exciting. Woo.
Yes. Pew, 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 pew.
Wait, yeah, pew pew pew.
Yeah.
Woo. Congratulations on that.
Thank you, Larry.
Come on now. We talking
I
about
I have to keep
legacy.
y'all posted.
Yeah, that's what's up. Congratulations. Oof. Yeah, I just got some
Oh,
good chills.
that for a year or two, right?
Say it one more time, Asia, because it cut off in the beginning.
Darn. I was saying to Clarissa, that means you're not mowing the lawn for a year or two, right?
You heard the prescription, Clarissa. Don't mow that land. Let it get crazy.
The one good thing about a homestead is you don't have an HOA, which I hate those anyway. So yeah, you can let it grow.
That's what's up. All right. So since we are congratulating Clarissa and Q on their land, we're gonna go ahead and start the next phase with this quote here. Revolution is based on land. Land is the basis of all independence. Land is the basis of freedom, justice, and equality. Malcolm X. I mean, how perfect is that after that news, right?
Right.
So,
And that one really rings true for me. Being here in West Africa, I heard that the statistic that just really shocked me. Over 85% of the food that the people eat in Africa is imported.
mm,
So that if anybody wants to just really cripple Africa, just cut off their supply chain because they have no foods. And that's because the colonizers had each country grow one specific crop, and that's all they grew. And they stopped growing their own food, then subsidize farmers that are subsidized in Europe and the US, their products are cheaper. So people are not growing their own food. So now what we're trying to get back to here is growing wild rice, that African wild rice that they used to eat instead of importing rice from China, growing more diverse crops here so that we can feed ourselves in the, in event that there's somebody wants to cut off everything, cut it off. We got it. We got everything we need right in front of us. We just have to use it. So Malcolm X was on point with that, and we need to continue to carry out this land justice and make sure that we're using it to our benefits.
Absolutely, Anita. And to your point, I mean, we see this model being used across the globe, the model of colonization of people and land, because the same thing, I remember when I was in Hawaii and it was about 95 to 98% of the food was imported. And that's why back then, when I was there in 2015, the milk and eggs was $10 back then. And people hollering about it now being, expensive. But it was like that then because all the food had to be imported. Same thing is happening in Puerto Rico and just different parts of the globe. So I think the more that we realize that, and not accept the cheap money that we're getting for these things, and decide to grow our own, the better off we'll be in the long term. And it will, it takes some time to protect that. Of course, you give up a lot, but you gain so much more.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we have to start seed sharing and seed saving because they're trying to kill us with these hybrid seeds. You buy these seeds and you can grow them 1 year, maybe a second year, but you can't save those seeds because they don't grow anymore after that. And they do that on purpose. So you have to buy their seeds. It's all about money. And we're trying to have food. So we have to start growing heirloom seeds and sharing seeds and seed saving. It's so important.
Absolutely. Good stuff. Right. So speaking of seed saving and strengthening our local economies, reducing the reliance on imports and all that, the power of community-centered agriculture. Like, I just love the way that sounds, community-centered agriculture, because here we are in Florida. Here I am in Florida, and we know Florida has a long growing season and it's a big agricultural state. Yet at the same time, a lot of the stuff that's grown, we still rely a lot on imports, which just amazes me. Things that we can grow locally here, but just to kind of see the history of farming in Florida, a lot of the conventionally grown crops, a lot of the issues with the land and how that ties into, issues with the ecosystem, because these things that you guys are talking about, it just ties into so many things, like self-reliancy, environmental stewardship. But like you said, Asia, never underestimate the power of small communities coming together and growing your own food. To me, that is everything, and going right on back to Booker T. Watley, and thinking about how he started the CSA Pick Your Own and how we still see that model coming back to this day. Like, that is definitely legacy. Thinking about Booker T. Washington founding Tuskegee University. And I am so happy because some of this is my first year as an agriculture educator. I've been teaching mathematics for years, like over 12 years, but I had an opportunity to teach agriculture this year, agri-science, and I've been learning so much. And one of my former math students came back to volunteer with my agriculture students this year. And she just got accepted to Tuskegee University, and she's going to school for animal science. She wants to be a veterinarian. And I'm just thinking about, Booker T. Washington. I'm thinking about community-centered agriculture and regenerative agriculture, George Washington Carver. More than just, I don't know what it is about when that name pops up, we think about butter, you know, but now it's like we're able to facilitate these conversations and discussions amongst the youth and properly talk about these legacies that we have. Like, no, peanut butter. Okay, let's talk about what the meaning of the peanut was, and nitrogen fixing plants, regenerative agriculture, and you know, so much. And it's just been quite amazing just to look at our legacy. And I feel like me personally, I know just a pinch of the legacy that we hold when it comes just to many different aspects of agriculture, botany, you know, and environmentalism, etc. There's so much rich legacy that we have as people. And I just think it's a beautiful thing. It's exciting.
Martina, you were talking about George Washington Carver and Booker T. Washington and all of the, people that we know from history that really were preserving our legacy with farming, feeding ourselves, improving the soil, and making sure that our community had enough to eat. A modern day person doing that in Dallas, Texas, Akwete Tahimbe at Pan African Connection. What she did was, I don't know if y'all know this, but some growers, stores don't want ugly fruit, or ugly vegetables. If the potato is kind of lopsided, if it's crooked, if it's too big, too small, they won't sell those. And they end up throwing this food away. And so what she did is she gets this ugly food or food that's about to go bad that the grocery stores don't want, and she has a market in front of the Pan African Connection where people can come and get food, free food, and it's feeding the community, and it's food that would have been thrown away. And this is something that we need to be involved in, community involvement, making sure that everybody is eating. Of course, we all need to make a living. We need to have some type of profit and income, but we also can do small things when we see that they're throwing away good food just because it's ugly, and make sure that people can eat this and have nutritious foods. And in a lot of our communities all over the U.S., they're food deserts. The black or the quote unquote low income neighborhoods are food deserts. The only thing they got is Dollar General, a liquor store, and a little Chinese store or Asian store on the corner. So they don't have good grocery stores or access to it. To keep our people healthy is very important. So that community involvement with not only growing but spreading what is useful for our people.
Absolutely.
I really like that she was able to make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's actually starting a farm to grow food and to still do more of this. So but making getting produce into underserved areas or food deserts is so important. Martina, right around where you are, people are out, some people shopping at Dollar General for their groceries, and you ain't getting nothing healthy at Dollar General.
It's very common out here. I was just about to say that when you came out here to do the farming program at Heart,
Mhm.
you remember I came out there, hey, Martina, come pick me up real quick. I need to go to the store. All right, drive 27. Where did we go? Dollar store. But
Store.
now the dollar stores have evolved so much. You see that they're like jumping in on that because now it's not even dollar store no more. I'm like, what is this? It's a little mini market. You know, they got produce and everything now. I'm like, okay, that's a good look. At least they're getting some fresh produce now, you know, but still
Mhm.
there's tons of processed food, and it's when you see all around you, what did you see, Lanita? Nothing but land, right?
That's it.
And
Yeah.
land, environment, like, man, we got water, we got bodies of water, like we got lakes everywhere. They call it chain of lakes out here. You fly into Florida, you see nothing but holes in the land. You're like, where's the land at? Because it's nothing but water, which, you know, you need water to grow stuff. These are things that in some places it makes it challenging to grow. So that's why I'm just like what you said is so important. It just takes somebody who cares, someone who's passionate, and that collaborative effort is everything because I see a lot of people doing things. They have great visions, they have good intentions, but it takes a village to get it moving and going through. And when you get that going, nothing can stop you. That's that power in collaboration, you know. But I love to see that happening more and more. It's a beautiful thing, and just hearing these stories and us talking and building it is very inspiring. Every time I hear about Fannie Lou Hamer, I think about you, Asia. I don't know why. Like, I think it was a conversation we had or something, but I think about you, Asia. I'm just putting that out there. Ugh.
Look, I can say it now. She used to be my old password too. I love her. I
See
really
that?
do.
That's dope. uh,
Yeah, she is Miss Ma'am, sick and tired of being sick and tired. Too.
yeah.
hmm But I love the way that she did it. And I mean, Lanita and Martina, y'all right on point. Lanita bringing up Equete, or Mama Equete, and what she's in the community. And, you know, she's done so much in the community. But one of the things that she's doing um, is bringing food to the people. And Fannie Lou Hamer also did that too. So, you know, she was able to help to find and secure resources for people who were getting out of being sharecroppers in the South, because this was a time in which, you know, voting was made legal for Black folks, or at least Black men at the time. And the sharecroppers, the Black sharecroppers, were being threatened to say, you know, if you vote, then you're not going to have a job. Well, Fannie Lou Hamer was like, you have a job over here. I'll make sure you have a pig, right? And a pig is some wealth, or at least it's something to eat in the South. Sorry, my dog's got some input too. But being in the South, you know, you can use pretty much every part of the pig and make a meal out of it.
From
And
the
so
rooter to the tutor.
shit, that's where it come from. You know that.
Mhm.
So it's like you can use every part of that. You can breed pigs. You can do all different types of things. And I know that it'll probably help us to segue into a different conversation in which we were talking about a few weeks ago with the crackers and stuff. But but then she was also, you know, she helped people to learn to, you know, like what to do on their land. Like if they weren't coming from sharecropping, they were coming from a different area, but they were at risk of losing their job or, you know, their livelihood. She helped them to secure wealth, and then also, you know, provided scholarships for people going to school and people needing to learn. So she really did make some resources out of nothing. You know, and she paid heavily for it. I mean, you know, she was jailed numerous times for standing up for her rights. You know, she was beaten, you know, for standing up for her rights and her people's rights, and allowing them to have resources so that they could secure their livelihoods and live. So, but yeah, I would love to also talk about. I don't know, Larry. That's a good question. Is that where the term piggy bank came from? Could be. Could be. That's a real good question. But uh, I wanted to segue into Martina, some of the things that you learned in your ag journey so far, and like the term cracker.
Oh, child. Whew. Just hit. All right, y'all ready for this? I'm gonna go ahead and speak my AA vernacular on this, though. So just bear with me here because it's been a journey. So cracker, cracker. And I'm still learning, y'all. I'm still learning. So Man, there's so much I want to say right now because you guys got me so lit. Like, I'm excited. I feel like we're in the Herbalist Lounge Club right now because all the stuff we're talking about.
We
But
are.
we are, right? We really are. And not to go too in depth, but you just reminded me, Lanita, there's a program in East Los Angeles at a high school called Fremont High School. And they actually started a community center out there at their agriculture program. They got a land trust. They turned it into a land trust, and they do a lot of workshops out there centered around nutrition. They get the ugly fruit and they give free produce to the community out there in East Los Angeles. And what's so dope about that is my dad used to teach agriculture at Fremont High School. He was one of the pioneers in setting up that agriculture program back in the 80s. So when I found out about what's going on now and everything you guys are talking about, like, we have Fannie Lou Hamers, we have our Booker T. Watleys and George Washington Carvers. Some of them, a lot of their names are unknown. And in this moment, I'm like, let me go ahead and shout my dad out, Charles Williams, because he was definitely a pioneer. He had a master's degree in agri-science. He went to the only school in Brooklyn that had a specialty in agriculture. Like, this boy in Brooklyn, growing up in the, in the 50s, in the 40s, was like, yeah, when no one was talking about agriculture, he's like, oh, something about agriculture, it just piqued his interest, and then to be able to go out there and do that work. So that's one of my ancestors, and I definitely want to shout him out because everything you guys are talking about, it made me remember someone brought up what's going on with that program to date, and I was unaware of that until just recently. And fast forward to Florida. Coming into Florida, Polk County is the largest county in Florida, y'all, right in the center. A big agricultural hub. Matter of fact, Miss Beverly, some of y'all know Miss Beverly. I know Lanita, Asia, you know her. She told me a lot about how it used to be the hub, like one of the top grower agriculture hubs in the nation at one point in the 80s. And, Haines City is a city in Polk County. And they have their little traditional fall festivals every year. And there's a festival they have out here. It's called the Cracker Festival, the Cracker Fest. When I heard the Cracker Fest, it triggered me, like, real talk. I'm like, the Cracker Fest, I'm like, what is this? I think a lot of you guys kind of have an idea of some of the things that came to mind when you hear the word cracker. And what was even more interesting, they were talking about the crack of the sound that the whip makes. So it was a big old thing where, they talked about the history of the cracker and the whips. So I wasn't too fond of it because, obviously it gave plantation energy and vibes. It gave slavery vibes. It just gave a lot of different energy that I did not feel comfortable with. And it was very interesting, seeing how this festival was something that they annually did, not knowing too much about the history. So as an agri-science educator this year, I was able to partake in my first county fair. And county fair, you have all kinds of competitions. It's crazy. And whip popping is one of them. So I started learning more about whip popping and how it has a lot of African roots, right? And roots just into indigenous people all over the earth, but definitely in Senegal, for example, where they would, use the whip. And maybe a lot of y'all knew this, but for me, I'm just like, wow. You know how sometimes I don't want to use the word shy away because that phrase shy away is not the right word, but something may not resonate with you because it gives you like colonizer vibes or some type of negative feeling. But then you go deeper and you start finding out like, wow, this is something that has some beautiful roots, and it might be even tied into my own legacy, potentially, or it has deeper roots when you start uncovering things. So learning about whip popping and the crafting of creating a whip is beautiful. Seeing artisans create them, it's something that people pass down, those skills and how to make them, how you pop the whip, and it's not easy. When you pop that whip in the air, man, ooh, it's a sound unlike anything else. So now when I hear the word, they may have used the word cracker, but it's way bigger than just the term cracker. So yeah, that's something I learned, and I am continuing the learning journey as an agri-science educator. More updates on cracker and whip popping, y'all, if y'all want to hear some more to come.
Well, here's the good news, Martina. Sometimes um, some really good trainers that work with horses,
Mhm.
they do a lot of whip cracking and they don't hit the horses with the whip. They teach the horses to fear the sound. And
Hmm.
I was actually riding a horse somewhere, and the guy didn't even have a whip. He just made the sound with his mouth. He said, and the horse took off running.
It's like a
So,
language. That whip can make a
right.
whole language and frequency. Like when we do it on campus, we have to get permission from the resource officers because it sounds like gunshots, when it,
Hmm.
so we had to learn the first go around. I'm out there working on it. Next thing you know, we're about to be on lockdown. I'm like, no, we just out here practicing. Oops.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
wild.
Oh, it was crazy. I was like, that's my fault. Hey, y'all, I'm new. Hey, it's me. But
But we're not giving people lashes anymore. But here, they still beat the heck out of horses with the whip. But there are some people, and there are lots of horse trainers that use the whip without actually hitting the horse with the whip. They train them to cracking. That's why the cracking is so
cracker.
important. It's a talent to know how to crack the whip without hurting your animal. So,
Right. And that's where that
but
term cracker came from. Gotcha.
I wanted to touch on what Asia was talking about, Fannie Lou Hamer.
Mhm.
A lot of us look at Fannie Lou Hamer and Malcolm X and all of these other names that we have in Black history, and we think, well, I can't do that. That's too big. I'm not sacrificing my life, whatever. But you would not believe how much you can change if you just work with a few people in your area, and each one teach one, you pass it on. Some things, Martina, Asia, and I are all from different parts of the country, and we get together with what our ancestors have done, and it's like, oh, okay, let's try that. And then we're spreading it to people in our area, and so on and so on. It's like, the ripples in the ocean. So, we are learning this stuff, and please do not be intimidated by the largeness of what these people have done. We can do small things in our community and still be very effective.
Absolutely, Lanita. And sometimes, you know what I've learned? You don't even know the impact that you have because it's not always spoken, you know? Um,
That's right.
I know I had tears come to my eyes yesterday when one of my former students called me and told me how much I inspired her. And I'm just like, man, are you for real? Thank you so much. It's great to hear that. And it made me think of one of my teachers that inspired me. And I'll never forget. I don't want to call it coincidentally. I just linked up with him, and I happened to be his last day when he was retiring. And I told him how I felt, and it brought tears to his eyes, and it reminded me of that. But a lot of times, you don't know. Like being here on this Herbalist Lounge every Sunday, every Monday when we get off the line to with one another, I'm inspired. I know a lot of you all are inspired. And to me, that's powerful, like what you just said, Lanita, because nobody's in the same area. We're all scattered throughout the world, literally. I mean, Lanita's calling in from a whole different time zone in West Africa right now. We got people north, south, east, and west, and we're here sharing information. And I love it and I appreciate it. And that's powerful. Oopsie.
That's good medicine.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Well, we talked about, a lot of things that can be done, and different plants and herbs. Does anybody have any herb they'd like to tell us about that has a legacy or history behind it for you, or from, passed down from your ancestors or your region that you live in? Feel free to jump in.
Y'all better jump in before I start talking about slimy okra.
Talk about that okra.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, man, y'all know how I feel about okra. That's definitely an ancestral food for me. And one thing I love about it, I can grow it all year in this hot Florida summer, because it gets hot in the summertime, and I realize a lot of things can't survive the Florida heat. But guess what can? That good old okra sure can, and you can make all kinds of good stuff with it. I mean, from hair care, facial care, internal care, good food, gumbo, you name it. That's one of my favorite ancestral foods that I will continue to pass down and just remind people if in the seed pods, when they get too big, when the okras get too tough, because I didn't pick them early enough, I'll turn them into little shakers. I'll be saving those seeds. I want to save all kinds of varieties. Yes, Lanita, I still have some of those seeds from the red okra you originally sent me. Every time I grow it, I make sure to save them as well in my little seed bank. So yeah, okra is a beautiful silky herb, very ancestral, part of the mallow family. Has so many different uses, and I'm grateful for it. Okra resonates with me heavily.
Yeah, we love
Martina, don't
okra.
you use it in your daughter's hair?
Yep, I do.
Can you tell us about that again? It's been a while. I would love to hear about how you implement that into your daughter's hair.
You sounded like Rakim. It's been a long time. I don't know why that song just popped up in my head. But yeah, absolutely. Because you know what? It's simple. It's so easy. Literally you just do a cold infusion from with okra. What I do is I'll obviously, I got my okra for food. And if I see some beat up okra, or sometimes if you have some of those tough okras where you don't really want to eat it anymore because you waited too long to harvest it, I use those for the hair. And I'll also use some soft ones as well. But basically, you just chop it up. Chop it up. You can pour some hot water over it initially. I let it soak overnight. I fill up the jar with okra. So if whatever size mason jar I have, you don't need a big jar because it'll get very gel like. I chop it up and fill up the whole jar, and then I fill it up with water, as much water as I can get. I don't put like halfway okra and then fill it up with water because my goal is to get a real gel like consistency. So that's why I fill up the entire jar with chopped okra, hot water, or you can just do room temperature water. You soak it overnight, wake up the next morning. Now strain it with a cheesecloth, or strain it with like, some type of cloth or a coffee filter, because there's, okra is very fibrous and you don't want to get that in your hair. And that can be a pain in the butt. I had to learn that a long time ago when I didn't strain it properly and I had a bunch of okra fibers, and that was a pain to get out. But it's really that simple. You can even add some rosemary in there, some different oils to add into it. But the consistency is real silky and jelly like. And with one of my daughters, she likes to do them little edges and stuff, them little fancy edges with the little edge brush. I'm like, look, all you need is okra, and it's not like some of those different types of gels that people use where it's drying and whatnot. But it's silk, it's nice. And one thing about it is I don't get any irritation. I know sometimes when I've tried different plant-based gels and different things for the skin and hair, sometimes I would get irritation. I never got irritation, and my children haven't, from using the okra. But yeah, it's that simple. There you go. That's it right there in the chat. Strain it, strain it. Nah, Asia, you ain't an herbalist if you don't get plants stuck in your hair at some point. We use herbs for everything. When I say everything, I mean everything. Shoot.
Yeah. Oh, I completely. Hey, Rakia. I just glanced over and saw your face. Good to see you.
Peace, Rakia. Thanks for tuning in. Now Clarissa's talking about honey in the hair. Ooh, that sounds nice too. Ooh.
I was doing Ayurvedic hair products, and they were talking about aloe vera, fenugreek, and hibiscus. Well, I'm here. I ain't got no aloe vera. So what did I do? I put some okra in that hibiscus and fenugreek, and it made the same wonderful conditioner deep conditioner that it would have with aloe vera. It still gives you that nice, clean slip feel when you rinse it out. So yeah, just know that if you're working with hair products, that where it says aloe vera, you can also substitute that okra in there.
Mm-hmm. All right, what else we got besides okra? We got okra substitute when we don't have aloe.
I'm one of those free food people. I love going around. I used to walk around my land in Texas and see what I could eat for free. So, like right now, the poke salad coming up, we gonna have some poke salad. I be singing
Mhm.
poke salad. And the curly dock. Martina, you told me about the name of the other one. I called it some kind of dock, but it's called sheep sorrel also. And that one you can eat it just raw. We just walk up and, I'm like a cow walking through the fields eating stuff. But that one made great salads.
Hold
you
up,
know.
hold up. I have to rewind this picture. Do you see that third picture right there, Lanita? Okay, so since we were talking about this right here, let me go ahead and show y'all. We ain't playing. We real about what we talking about. Okay, you see, so that we talked about Asia with that chicken, but if you look on the right, that's Lanita all up in the bushes with a notepad, and it probably is curly doc. That's the irony of it all. But
That's what it was.
see right there, that's
Gosh, she had a
crazy.
notepad. Look,
That's
Lanita.
Lanita with a notepad. I'm done. I am so done. Oh my! And meanwhile, on that same piece of land, which is Black Land Ranch, Black Man's Ranch, Lanita. That first picture is a big old thistle. Like I'm not
Yes.
short, y'all. I am 5'10" and a half. And people are like, why are you saying the 10 and a half? Because I'm really 5'11", like right up under it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna say that 10 and a half, or I'm gonna say 5'11". So if I'm 5'11", almost 6 feet tall, that's a big thistle. I've never seen a thistle that big, but that's what happens when you don't mow your lawn. See what I'm saying?
Okay. Oh yeah.
All
But
right.
but
All right.
that's good stuff though. You
Yeah,
see that
man. See?
that milk thistle is good for your good for your liver cleansing. But like I said, all this free food out here, and it's just a matter of knowing what's around you. And then like a little bit later on, we got all these blackberries coming up, so you have to watch what's in season and watch what's going, but know what's around you. And then also you can check on online is so good for a lot of the resources, especially if there's an agriculture college in your state. Check their ag site. They'll tell you what people used to eat, and most of the times they tell you what pesticides to kill stuff, but don't kill nothing. You can eat a lot of that stuff. And each season something different was coming up that I consider free food, free medicine. And you just learn your environment, learn what's around you, what you can use, because it's so much stuff. And you can have some good meals just off of your what they call weeds. I call them volunteers. They just voluntarily grew in my yard.
Sound like me in the classroom outside. Isn't that a weed, miss? First off, let me tell you, a weed is a plant whose virtue is not known, child. But, and then I was like, wait a minute. Then again, then I tap into some of my other teachers. I'm like, well, a tomato can be a weed if it wasn't intended to grow here. But yeah, I feel you. And it reminds me of maple seeds. Like, I don't know if I've ever spoken about maple seeds, but I discovered that a few years ago. The maple seeds are so delicious. You can roast them. They're bitter when you eat them raw, but we have red maples here in Florida. So it's one of our native trees. And right now, it's at the beginning of spring, right now, right before spring's about to hit, the end of winter. It's abundant. I started collecting them and taking the little seeds out. They're really small. They remind me of the pigeon peas. They're about the size of the pigeon peas, but you can roast them. And the thing about that food, You know, you can get some long leaf, you can get some pine needles, make a pine needle tea, super rich in vitamin C and other antioxidants. You're over here eating these different maple seeds. There's something about eating forage foods, you know, responsibly. I am going to put that out there, but it's just different types of phytochemicals and nutrients and things that you just can't get, you know. And it's abundant. Like you said, Lanita, just learn the land, learn your environment. That's so powerful, so powerful. All right, y'all. Well, we've been having a really good build. Does anyone want to mention some ancestral foods or legacy foods, or just maybe some foods that they're looking forward to learning more about? Herbs, plants, traditions, anything.
I want to learn more about some more birthy herbs, about especially tinctures you can implement into birth.
Mhm. Clarissa, you are definitely the birth guru, and you are absolutely a plant nerd, a preem. Plants rule everything around me, and the way you go in and you build your knowledge up day by day, month by month, and working with your clients, like you are a wealth of knowledge, and we are very grateful for you and the work that you do, just like everyone contributes in their own unique way. But yeah, that sounds amazing. Learning more about tinctures and applications in birth. Absolutely.
Thank you. One that comes to mind is the shepherd's purse tincture. I know I need to get that from you too.
That's a good one. And that's abundant out here. Shepherd's purse is something that's so abundant, and it just might be abundant up there, because if it is, as much as I appreciate the love, and you know, I always got you, I also encourage people to, you know, familiarize themselves with their land. For example, I'm excited for you and Q because, oh, you're about to go on an adventure. I have a good friend who just purchased a few acres out here in North Florida, and I'm telling you, she calls me like almost every other day about a new plant that she discovered on her land. And she's like, oh my goodness, we have usnea growing out here. I had no idea. And I'm like, there you go. You can start making stuff, you know, making your tinctures and stuff, and look at and you know what's going on your land. That's your land. That's your sacred land. You know, I bet there's going to be all kinds of stuff you can start tincturing out there. And that's going to be some powerful medicine. Okay. Well, are we ready to wrap it up tonight? How are we feeling? How's everyone feeling?
My hibiscus is wearing off, and I'm about to go to sleep on y'all.
Mm. I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So good evening. I suffer with endometriosis, and I'm trying to like get from pharmaceutical drugs. I just recently found out that I advanced to stage 4. I'm not sure if anybody in the chat knows any herbs that are good for like pain management for like reproductive organs.
Hmm.
One that I had growing on my land is oh, because I'm trying to think of it, I can't think of the name of it. Chaseberry, Vitex agnes. Vitex agnes is the Latin name for it, and you can make tea with the seeds. And I would mix chamomile and the chaseberries together and make a tea, and it's very soothing for you. And also, it's an adaptogen, which means if you have too much hormones, it decreases it. If you don't have enough, it increases it. That's something that you can, supplement your diet with. that especially if you're having really bad problems with the endometriosis, if it's very painful, this can help. But I'm not recommending substituting any medicine or anything that you're doing. This is just something in addition that you can take to try to help you to ease some of the discomfort that you have with your endometriosis.
Oh, thank you. You said chaseberry and chamomile?
Chaseberry and chamomile. Chamomile is just kind of relaxing for you,
Yeah.
and the chaseberry is, like I said, it is an adaptogen for the hormones. It adjusts your hormones, and it's used for a lot of women. A lot of women use it for cramps, for PMS, for premenopausal symptoms. So it has a lot of history of use in women for female issues. But like I said, it can help you with your endometriosis. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Earlier, Clarissa was talking about shepherd's purse. That's another one that helps with women's issues as well. And then I know this one from Hawaii, so I'm not sure if it's available where you are, but it was very easy to get kava kava in the market, like loose leaf kava kava, or they called it ava, AWA, or KAVA. So that one is more of a sedative. So it's something that is better to take closer to bedtime. And it's just really soothing. It can be a nervine, so it can kind of ease some of your pains. And it does actually have a numbing effect as well too. Um, so it just kind of brings you down, relaxes you a little bit more, and it can help relax some of those pains as well.
Thank you.
And Lanita, as you was talking, I put notes in the chat. So that way she can just copy and paste it for herself.
Oh, okay. I saw that. I was like, oh, how did that happen?
Pew pew.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm choking on dandelion tea over here. Y'all crazy. Pew pew. Herb, that's what you call Herbalist Lounge Connect. Woo, we uniting right now. You see that? How powerful is that? I love it. Pew pew. All right. All right, y'all. Well, what a good way to wean off of our build here. Not that we ever stop. We always keep going with our plants. So let's go ahead and talk about subscribing to our email, or not to our email. What is it called? Y'all help me, because that dandelion's got me in a space right now.
YouTube.
Mailing list, and then the YouTube.
Mail tip.
I'm thinking this, I don't know what's going on, but yeah, I'm ready to snooze in a minute and it feels so good. Yes, the mailing list, y'all, the mailing list. So we can probably get that in the chat as well. If you're not already, I know many of you all are already on the mailing list, and we give you updates about Herbalist Lounge happenings and always give you a friendly reminder of, hey, Herbalist Lounge is popping up. But remember, it's every second Monday of the month, but we know how things can get. It's easy for things to pop up on us. So we'll get that in the chat for you.
All right, it should be in the chat.
Yeah. And then also on YouTube as well. Follow us on YouTube. All the previous and past recordings are on YouTube, including this one will be posted on YouTube. So, listen to it again, play it back. Share it with a friend, invite a friend next month when you come back. We love it when you guys come back, share stories, and just keep vibing with us. So on YouTube, it's Herbalist Lounge, and also on Facebook and Instagram at Herbalist Lounge. All right. Boom. There you go. All right. Does anyone else have any last words they'd like to say before we say peace to one another?
I dropped the YouTube link in the chat. And also if we're not following each other already on social media, please drop your social media handle so that we can follow you. You can follow us, and we could be herbal friends everywhere.
Also, does anyone have any, absolutely, right? And does anyone have any upcoming events they would like to share right now?
Yes, I do. We will be at the WIC office actually every second Monday of the month. Um, Sorry, my baby is really, really vocal right now. Um, but we'll be teaching baby safe sleep from 11 a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. Let me get the address real quick. And it's going to be from starting tomorrow, actually, through September. And the address is 2805 Metropolitan Parkway, Southwest, Building C, Atlanta 30315. So come out, hear about baby safe sleep, get diapers, baby resources, baby sleep sack, a boppy, and just come on out. Learn all about it.
And Clarissa, you said it's going to be every second Monday. You guys are going to be at the WIC office every second Monday?
Oh, every second Tuesday. Every
Every
second
second
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Got you. So here I am mixing it up. Every second Monday is the Herbalist Lounge, and then every second Tuesday, we're going to remind y'all on every Herbalist Lounge to go ahead and pop up in that WIC office and get some goodness. All right, cool. Thank you, Clarissa, for sharing.
Yes, thank you. You're so dope.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, thank you for vibing with us, everyone. It was a beautiful night, a beautiful, beautiful evening, night. So until the next time, I look forward to linking up. Asia, Lanita.
Thank you for coming. Peace, power, and green blessings.
Peace.
Yeah, do that. Go out there and pick something. Peace.
Go pick some.
Yeah.
Yo.
Do that. Do that. Do that. Do that.
I'm gonna give me a shirt that says "Go out there and pick some."
Oh, now you started something now, trying to be starting something. Ooh.
I'm
All
gonna
right,
wait till we're
y'all.
not recording. Okay, go ahead. Thanks, y'all.
All right, peace.
Peace.